Warning: following podcast episode contains spoilers of the most recent Living Story update. If you've not yet completed the Living Story content, proceed at your own risk. Alright guys, so just a little quick preview of what we're going to have on this week's show. Scarlet has worms, lasers rain down from the sky, metal clockwork boobs, baby Asura, cats and dogs, living together, mass hysteria. Stay tuned. Number 80, the big 80 of the Chronicles of Tyria podcast, a Guild Wars 2 podcast for fans by fans. I think that intro did it enough in case you missed it or you're just logging in or you have massive weird Rochesterian lag. Spoilers are incoming. Brace yourself. On this week's episode of CoTPodcast, I'm going to read the Bromms idioms here. Stuff and spoilers. So many spoilers. And we talk about Naveen's favorite patch ever in the history of ever.
You're funny, Bromms.
I know.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Doing great.
I am also doing great, but for reals.
I'm doing great. I am.
I'm very excited, but
yeah, I'm not excited. I'm just doing good. I'm doing good. Guild Wars 2 related. I'm doing. I have no words for what I'm feeling.
Okay.
So, I apologize in advance.
All right. Well. On that wonderfully neutral note, we're going to move on to the show. For once, we actually have... how's it feel, guys? First new routine show in 6 weeks?
Yeah. No interview, no nothing. It's just the three of us.
I know.
Yeah.
With a patch.
Exactly.
With a patch.
So to just kick this off, if you guys are listening to us on iTunes and you'd like to see it live and see our beautiful faces or make your own judgmental decisions about what our faces look like, then you need to come join us on Twitch. So that's twitch.tv/Chronicles of Tyria every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not going to say standard. Are we in standard time?
No.
Eastern Standard Time? The
no,
daylight,
we're daylight savings.
Whatever, 9 p.m. whatever the time of the year it is for Eastern.
Wait, is that a thing? Seriously? Like,
well, it's Eastern.
If it's in daylight, do you not say EST?
It's EDT.
Yeah.
Eastern Daylight Time.
I like your face.
How have I grown up for this much time and not known that was... Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
Oh, well. It's cool. It's cool. We
Hey, did you
forgive
guys know that there's a lighthouse in Lion's Arch and it found?
Shut up. Stop making
Oh,
fun of
man.
me.
I know.
Oh, what was I going to say? Blah, blah. That's what I'm saying. All right. It'll come back to me.
Was it about iTunes?
Yes. Thank you.
Good job, Bromms.
Those listening on iTunes, I don't know how many of you are listening. I can see the numbers. Please leave us a rating. I want ratings. I like 5 stars. Well, you don't have to leave 5 stars, but it's very much appreciated. I mean, if you download our episodes every single week because you like it, so do that and leave something and we'll read it on the show.
Yeah.
And I will love you forever.
Well, can't put a price on that, can you?
It's super cheap. It's like Salvation Army's price.
Rhetorical question.
It's a used item.
But again, just as a follow-up, if you're watching us live on Twitch or you do prefer to watch us on Twitch, follow us on Twitch, because that way, whenever we do any kind of streaming on Twitch, you'll get an email notification that says Chronicles of Tyria just went live with whatever. Because sometimes, randomly, we've done other streams. Like, oh, we just decided, oh, we're going to try out one of the new, whatever the new guild missions were when they came out, we were going to stream those. And the update video that I put out months and months ago, rather than record it, I streamed it in case anybody was around to catch it. So, you know, stuff like that. We may do impromptu things, but the only way to know is to follow us on Twitch.
Yeah.
So, all right, Naveen, what is this show brought to you by?
Oh, shit. This show is brought to you by no meme whatsoever, because Naveen forgot.
That's gonna become a meme now. You know that, right?
Naveen forgot?
Can we have, like,
Yeah.
Forgetful Naveen?
Forgetful
like-
Naveen. Is that a thing? Is there a meme where it's forgetful? No, it isn't. No, there isn't.
No.
No. Oh,
Do you
well.
remember that time Naveen forgot the meme?
No.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Pepperidge Farm Naveen.
Or something.
Oh!
Or
Or-
we just make an inverse one where it's... Do you remember that time Chronicles of Tyria had memes at the beginning? Nope.
yeah.
Naveen did. Next.
That's okay. We'll rock this show without a meme. We don't need no stinking memes. Boom. Okay. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Question of the week for last week was Guild Wars 2 Project 365 has gained a lot of popularity in the community, and there's some awesome screenshots coming out of it. If you could take a screenshot of only one place in the game, where would it be? What would it be in? What would be in it, if you read things correctly? Me. Logan's backside, cough, Naveen, cough. I'm reading this verbatim. Obviously, you can tell who wrote this. The By Ogden's Hammer Guy. Describe your screenshot, and we might throw gold at you. Naveen, I'm going to let you read that first one, because you're called out specifically.
Okay, I'm being called out. Let's see. So, it's from Aster. Or, let's see. Hello, hosts. This is Aster from Puerto Rico. I'm almost hoping Naveen reads the same way she says Eduardo from Mexico. Puerto Rico. Okay, do you want me to take on an accent the whole email? Let's do that. This is going to be my favorite part of the show tonight, because the rest will kind of suck.
We got an email from Eduardo later I'm saving for you, too. So.
Oh, sweet. All right. So, hello, hosts. This is Aster from Puerto Rico. Guild Wars 2's Project 365 had been a lot of fun so far, since it has also allowed me to put my old blog... I can't. Just words. I'm sorry. Okay, so Guild Wars 2... Guild Wars 2's Project 365 had been a lot of fun so far, since it has also allowed me to put my old blog to good use. I'm really happy with some of the screenshots I've managed to take so far, like my Mesmer and Queen Jenna's duel pointing at something. my naked warrior crying as he hid behind a plant in the grove, and my guardian turning to cower from a bat in Queensdale's graveyard. What I liked about these ones was that it required timing and luck. Yeah, that's true. When your computer lags under best appearance graphic settings. Anyway, one of my favorite areas in Guild Wars 2 is the Dragon Brand. I have always thought they look kind of pretty in a sort of creepy way, even when I learned about the origins of those areas. I haven't been there lately, but I want to capture the beauty created out of the trail of a waking dragon. TLDR, Dragon Brand.
All right. Bromms, do you want to read the next one, or I can? Because I'm going to give the Eduardo one to Naveen again.
Yeah, I'll read this one. I like reading
Yeah.
Marnik's emails, so.
You do it.
This is from Marnik. Hey hosts, I personally feel that the new Tequaddle and Jungle Worm should have been guild missions. Imagine the following. Instead of waiting for hours, a guild can call the boss for a challenge. Boss mechanics like the turrets are reserved to the guild members. Furthermore, each call would cost 50 merits to punish wiping and sync merits. It also solves the scaling and overflow problems. The reward could be 6 merits and spawn a guild vendor which sells ascended armor at 15 merits and 15 gold apiece. To add incentive, the loot table should be made public to contain a 20% chance to drop an ascended piece. The Slaying Guild is pronounced server-wide as per the Hall of Heroes in Guild Wars 1. I really like that idea. No merits should be awarded to keep older missions relevant. It's my feeling that the current implementation has a lot of issues which wouldn't be present if they were guild missions. Kind regards, Marnik. Yeah, he has some really cool ideas in there, actually, that I have not heard before. So yeah, I think there's definitely we were actually talking about this right before the show started. There's ways that I think that they could do the big bosses like Tequaddle and the Jungle Worm better. I know a lot of people have been wanting those for either like epic dungeons or guild related things, but I definitely like the idea of calling out winners as per the Hall of Heroes in Guild Wars 1. That's a really cool thing. But
I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening because all I could read in chat was Bromms with a heart sign next to it. I don't know. Something happened. People started to love you all of a sudden, like super hard.
right.
Just going to let that one go. Just going to let that one go, folks, because we are maturing as a podcast, and we're going to keep on
Are
rolling.
we? Cause...
No, but let's give the illusion that we are.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree with your points, and I think Marnik really has something there. I don't know if they could implement the Tequaddle and the Jungle Worm that way now, but I do think that for a sixth guild mission, fifth, sixth, seventh, I don't know, whatever it is, the next one that they should add, because they should add another one. This kind of like, I don't know what they would call it, but like super guild challenge or like guild challenge tier 2, because there's only one tier of it, where you could fight something the equivalent of a world boss. And again, this is sinking 50 merits, because as we talked about before, there's nothing to do with your merits.
Yeah.
You sit at
Sit there and
250
look at 'em.
if you don't, buy hero banners or useless waypoint reduction things for 24 hours that, nobody really even notices are there. And again, it would solve the overflow issue, but I have to admit, and we'll talk about it when we get to it, there hasn't really been an overflow issue in the more traditional sense of the word with these events. Because normally, you remember things like the Claw Jormag, if you got into overflow, you wouldn't get the event.
Mhm.
Like, Claw Jormag's in its window, he should spawn right about now. And then it'd be like, well, we're in overflow, so he could spawn right now, he could maybe never spawn ever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Darshan in the chat room's like, did anyone else just hear smooth jazz? It's because I clicked on Jay's link and it's a YouTube video, so I had to stop it right away or else people would have heard. But it's my fault.
But yeah, I do think that would be a really good way to go about it. I think it would solve a lot of problems. The only thing is, if it also does one of those things they were trying to not do, but they kind of did anyway, is the not punish the small guilds. But I feel like some of the missions and the rushes not so much, but the challenges and the jumping puzzle in some instances, if you have a small, like really small guild, like 10 people, say, I mean, good luck even getting to this point with the merits and things like that, and the influence that you would need to get there. But there's no way you'd be able to take on even like a 20 or 30 person guild. Good luck taking on a world boss with 30 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if it was like Tequatl. You need X amount of people on the turrets, people defending the turrets, all this kind of stuff. There's no way that would work. Unless they install an alliance system, which then allows you to do, like, maybe that's like an alliance mission, right? Like, you have alliance, say it's capped at 5 guilds, right? You have a 5 guild alliance, and then it's like you can choose to put in like a central pool, like everybody puts in their merits from each guild into this, like as many as you want, right? Say it costs 250 to do one of these. Every guild puts in 50 merits, or however that works, and then the whole alliance gets to go and do it. And then you have more people, which I just made that up right now, and I think that would actually be a really good idea.
Yeah, it would almost have to be an alliance type system like that in order for it to work, but I think what it really comes down to is they need to find some way to kind of work on the scaling for those bosses, because like we were talking about, no one really does Tequatl anymore, and if you do it, you have to have a guild to do it. You can't just run into the zone and be like, I'm going to do Tequatl today, because it's never going to happen, ever. So it'd be nice if they did something to address that so that there was a little more, not incentive necessarily, but just so that you could do it without going through like hours of trying to get people together and hope that they know what they're doing, and yeah, that stuff.
I've never even battled Tequatl.
Since the update.
Yeah.
Since ever.
What?
Yeah.
Not once.
No.
Not when he was like an easy trollable world boss like the Claw.
No, I never got the achievement. Never ever.
Let me give you an example. This is what it's like to fight Tequatl now. You ready? Okay. Guys, stack. Okay. Turrets, what are you doing? We need more things healing on the turrets. Okay, pick up all the down people. Down people, go waypoint. What are you doing? Turrets, stack, turrets, stack, turrets, that turret test. Oh, we did it! Weehoo! That's what it's like.
Wow. That sounds like fun.
It is. It's awesome. Except you have to add about 2 hours of preparation before that. So.
I get it.
Yeah, I did, Tequatl countless times when it was just an easy boss. And when they updated it, I attempted and failed probably 10 times in the beginning before people really got it down. And then I just never could get into a group or the main server when people were doing it. So I may just join up with like one of the Tequatl guilds, because there is a guild specifically for Tequatl, or there's a couple, I think. And then just do it so I could do it. You know what I mean? Get it out of the way. But that is neither here nor there. Let's get to Eduardo's email, Naveen. Next one there.
Oh, okay. Eduardo from Mexico. Hi. Attention, new Crichton experts. Oh yeah, that's true. Inside Scarlet's secret room, there is a bookshelf. It contains some books. Really?
Most do.
I found something in those books. There's text on them. It's all in New Crichton, but it's not visible to the players. I had to rip the textures files of all the assets in Scarlet's rooms to see them. Wow. I can't ring tonight again. I've been trying to translate the texts, but the resolution is very low. They are just game assets, and I don't think ArenaNet intended those books to be found. I have only been able to translate some of the titles on the covers of the books, such as Examination of the Kingdom of History of the Gods, among others. It seems that Scarlet has been reading about Dwayne. I will share these images with you with the highest resolution possible. I think some of you are way more familiar with the New Crichton and will able to be to translate some more despite the low resolution. Also, I'm sharing a collection of Scarlett's creepy drawings and scribblings for closer examination for those of you who like to speculate. Have fun. Eduardo from Mexico. No, Mexico. Not Mexico. It's not Mexico. All right. I'm done.
Okay. Shoutouts.
Wait. I'm not done. I'm done reading.
Oh.
But let's see. I had the pics. Where are they?
Oh, yeah.
Pics and stuff? Nope.
We should, we need to get Jal. He's not in the chat, but he's like our new Crichton expert.
They disappeared. Never mind.
Scarlett, what are you doing?
It's weird. How I didn't delete anything. Something happened. Because I put the pictures in XSplit, right? And if they're missing, it's because I deleted them. But they're still there. I haven't touched them. Why did they get deleted? Anyways.
Weird.
I can't English tonight, so.
Fair enough. You can French then.
Yeah.
See if that works. Well, there was something. I saw something pop up on the Twitch stream there.
Yeah, there was some other
for later. Those are your pictures.
Oh, okay. So shoutouts.
Yeah.
Bromms.
I don't have any shoutouts.
That is a lie. You are a dirty liar. You have a shout out to Nick and a shout out to Emmy. I was there. And you
I
said
did,
you
but
would.
I forgot what I was supposed. The only thing I remember to shout out to them for is that they are supporting each other, but I forget
They
why.
were supporting you.
No,
It was so-and-so was supporting you, and then someone gave
no, it was MB supporting Nick was supporting MB for supporting Nick to help support MB. It was a never-ending train of support. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot why though, and I meant to write it down. But then I logged off and went to bed. So
Nick and MB, I was looking out, but I was trying.
I know. You guys can be disappointed in me. I'm fine with that. I'll apologize.
It's okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Naveen.
Well.
The fact that you're hiding half of your face shows your shame, so that's cool.
Yeah. Exactly.
Was it Logan is Scarlet? Was it that one?
Logan is Scarlet?
Remember, we talked about that yesterday. Alfred brought it up.
Maybe.
That was the secret. Remember?
Oh, yes. It was... Yeah. I don't remember how. I'm sorry. I don't remember. I really don't remember.
I think MB said he...
Oh,
What's up?
I'm sorry. I just said Perkisar says Bromms is a sexy piece of man meat.
You know it.
So somebody, I think it was MB or Nick, one of them said they cracked it, they figured it out. Scarlet is Logan Thackeray. That explains why he's always running away, where he's been all the time. And
okay, so the conspiracy is basically, I'm starting to remember now, as you can tell. So, okay. Logan is Scarlet. That's why Logan left when they were when Destiny's Edge was fighting the dragon, so that they would specifically fail, and so that what's his face that I can't remember the name of would die, and he went back to protect the queen, which is all a ruse, because then that gets him closer to the queen and in her trust, so that when this whole party goes on, he has a chance to kill her, except he fails because he didn't do it right. See, it all makes sense. It's perfect.
It was a lot more elaborate when this was brought up.
It was, and when I remembered most of it.
I think MB said this, and then Nick told you to shout out about it to MB on the podcast. And then he said, as long as you give me credit for this, and then as long as you give him credit, but give me credit for telling you to give him credit. Something like that. Whatever, guys. I got your back.
That's a
okay, so shout out to MB and Nick. Boom.
Naveen, did you have any shout outs?
Did I write any? Nope.
No. Nope.
All
right. Well, I have a shout out to Jolinar, and Naveen, if you could throw up the wonky resolution picture, please.
There you go. And see the nice title I added? What the fuck resolution, Joel?
I was getting yelled at, and Jay Cop was actually there with us too. He was in the group. But we were doing the worm, and I was getting yelled at by both of them that my boon bar was distracting them from the game because it went too far across their screen. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, because your boons are off in the bottom corner when they're on you. So I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they're like, look, screenshot, and sent it to me. So yeah.
I will say, for people that can't see the picture, Lag's boon bar is literally halfway across the screen, and it goes over where the health bubble is at the bottom, like that line. If you chase it up, it's ridiculous.
Seriously. Okay, first of all, our freaking image is square. Who plays a game in a square freaking image? Even when you're in Windows mode, you don't play with a square resolution. What the fuck? What kind of computer are you using? I don't understand. Like, how can you enjoy Guild Wars 2 with that freaking fuck resolution? Shit. Like, this is boggling me. This is boggling my mind. This is I don't know. Are you playing on the freaking notepad? Like, I don't know. This is weird.
Jacob says on 2560 by 1400, my boons are still distracting. So,
That's true.
But yeah, usually people tell me like, you got enough boons, and I'm like, no, I'll show you. This isn't even my final form, and then I like add everything that I could possibly find.
Yeah.
So whatever. So that was shout out to Joel and Jay for telling me that my boons are distracting, and actually showing me that they were distracting, because half of my boons are just covered up by my mini map in the corner because I can't see them because they go out there, and like I can't even shrink the map far enough to see how many are left because the map only goes so small.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I never see your boons.
Yeah,
my resolution is way too big.
He doesn't just show his boons to everyone, Naveen.
This guy.
Why don't you show me your boons?
He's got some class.
That should be the meme. Next week's meme. Show me your boons.
Show me your boons.
Yep. And I can't tell if that should be like a creepy dude or Captain Falcon.
Show me your boons.
Show me your boons. Anyway.
Nice.
I do have one other shout out to...
Are you a member of the Boontown Rat?
Oh.
Okay, go. Sorry. Go.
Lagywn's man boons. Kirky says. Can I see your man boons?
Alright, get out of here. Oh man, there's so many boon puns you can make.
There are.
Yeah.
Realize that.
I still like the one from earlier, but it's not very PC.
Boon screenshot. No. Boon
Yeah.
headshot. Boon. Ugh. I'm too
Like I
old.
said, boonies never say die. So
There you go.
on. Dari Shan sent us actually for last week's show, and we totally missed it. But I'm sorry.
Yes, Boons brings all the girls to the yard.
That's right. He sent us a little audio clip, which I actually forgot to send to Naveen to have ready.
Crap! I forgot.
But it's a when we are giving away gold, which we totally have forgotten to do for like a million times. Also haven't picked winners for the question of the week in like 3 weeks. Whatevs.
Oops.
Yeah. We love you guys. It's all Lagywn's fault. It's his boons.
Yep.
Listen.
Boon,
we got
baby.
Time to get
Boon, boon, shake, shake the room. Boon, boon. Nice.
there are many thoughts that Naveen needs to make a song about.
I don't have time. You look like a baboon. Ah!
Oh my god.
Oh man.
I'm so proud of our chat room right
Yeah.
now. Thank you so much.
I like
if-
big boons and I cannot like. Alright.
Imagine if we had as many people as we had trolling us last time. We had
1,000 booms puns.
1,000 boons.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good times.
I guess technically I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, me neither. So it's about
Aster, you win question of the week. You're the only one that answered.
yeah.
Sweet.
Unless
You won the
someone-
question of the week and you won the gold. No, that was kind of Italian.
I don't know what that was. But if we had the little clip, we would play that right now.
We play it right now.
Yeah.
But we don't.
Okay, bad news time.
Bad to the boon.
Bad to the boot.
There it is.
I like that one.
I'm bad to the bone.
Boon. What?
We're gonna get to the topic. I swear. Remember the spoilers? They might not happen if we can't get to the end.
Oh yeah, it's true.
So let's some bad news. We're gonna get real for a second here about some merchandise things.
Yeah.
You wanna
Sure.
no?
So you guys, COT merchandise, COT trading posts is fucked.
Naveen gives no shit about language on this show. Not today, anyway.
I thought we were gonna be like this delicate announcement.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Sorry. We just wanted
I
to
changed
tell
my
you that-
mind.
Right.
All right,
we
so you know how our logo has these beautiful icons, which is like the professions and races of Tyria. So, since it's basically ArenaNet's stuff, and that there's copyright on it, we can't sell. Yeah, assets. We can't sell anything. Whoops. So, if you've gotten merchandise from the COT trading post, you're freaking lucky as shit, because you ain't getting crap anymore. The store is done. It's closed. It's fucked up. It's gone kaboom. So, if you want something with a super cool COT logo on it, I'm not telling you to grab our logo and go do a t-shirt of your own, but you can, be creative. To be on a nicer note, we have amazing members in our community. And is it Son that put it up? I believe it is. Son, which did like half of our fucking calendar.
Exactly half, yeah.
Okay, so let me read this. Due to accidental copyright infringement, the annual calendar project has become a year of COT fan art. A free downloadable pack of fan art custom tailored to each month. For the fans, by the fans. Let me copy that. And then...
Yeah, I zipped a file of all the fan art and threw it up on our public CoTPodcast thing, so you can go in there and you'll see a zip file that's called COT a year of art or something to that effect. It's a zip file. So if you'd like to see all the art that was involved in the calendar, because I feel bad because we didn't know that this was coming, obviously.
Yeah.
Our store had been up for a while and there was never an issue
More
before.
than a year.
More than a year, yeah. But that's irrelevant to this point. So I feel really bad about the artist, especially Son, who busted her ass to make this thing happen for us.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like a week or two later, we get slapped with the copyright hammer.
I'm sorry.
And I feel really, really bad to all the artists that worked on it. So we put up this file so you guys can go and see all the art, and it's in there from the front cover all the way through December. So you guys can go in and look at it and admire how awesome all the people in our community are and all the artists, and it's free. So feel free to do what you want.
Yep. Ada Carolina says, why not just put the name on the merchandise and not the logo? Yeah, we could do that.
We could do that. We could do it in We have to be very careful of the fonts.
We
that
can't
pick.
use Guild Wars 2 font. So
And
you
we
guys
can't
are
use
going to
New
get
Crichton either.
Comic Sans.
Yeah.
Wow. Much Chronicles. Superteria. Wow. Darishon just said, put COT in Comic Sans. You and I think alike.
New font, Comic Boons.
Comic Boons. And Darishon said, Boonin, Boonwin, and Boons.
But yeah.
Times New Roman.
We can't use the Guild Wars 2 kind of font. We can't use New Crichton. We can't use any asset that is, even if, in case you're wondering, even if we put like a, copyright 2012 ArenaNet, the subsidiary of NCSoft, yada yada yada, that whole spiel. Even if we put that on here's your COT shirt, and then that's written on the sleeve in big freaking letters so you can read it, we still couldn't do it. So there's no way around that. The only way to do it is with completely original stuff that's not in any way tied to any assets or things owned, intellectual property, whether that be fonts, whether that be images, whether that be a character stylized drawing of an in-game race that belongs to ArenaNet. That cannot be done. But some of the other stuff that we have had done by some of our great artists, like the silly, the Finish Them and the Maternity Tank and the data mining time things, those are completely original.
Yep.
So those are usable. So that kind of art can be done. If you guys have that kind of stuff, we can do things to that degree. But again, our logo is all ArenaNet assets surrounding a book covered with ArenaNet assets.
Yeah.
So we basically pull that all out and we got a book.
Yeah.
So that's what you could have on a shirt, a book. Real derivative.
But even that, there's New Crichton on it. Anyways,
So that, feel free to email us and ask any questions and get a hold of us however you want. If you want to talk about it, we don't want to hold it up here. It's kind of sad, and we're all a little upset about it. If you did manage, again, to get anything, you're fine. You already have it. We cleared. We talked to ANET, and we're on good terms now. They're not taking any action against us. We didn't do it intentionally, and the fact that it was up for so long with no issues, we thought we were okay, but that's not the case. So treasure any mugs or t-shirts or things that you have.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, them's the breaks.
And then there's some people who say, but there's so many people out there selling stuff that are like mini quaggins or, quaggin earrings or on their Etsy shop and whatever. How come they're not down? The thing is, we've been in the community for quite some time. So people know us. It's a title now.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to, they can't go and give a warning to all of the little shops. They pretty much have to go through the bigger guys. Not that I'm saying that, I'm trying to stay humble here. But they kind of have to go through those grown-up type of communities that have been there for a while and get them to set the example. So we just, shut it down and that's it. And we're setting the example.
Yes. And again, you may know that, I guess to just kind of round out this topic, video property is something completely different. They're okay with us making videos and monetizing videos and things like that. That's okay. Writing stories and things like we have been doing, like fan fiction.
Yeah,
that's
but
fine.
we're not selling our books. That's the
right.
thing.
We can't publish that. We can't take the compendium of all of Chronicles of Tyria's stories and make a book and sell that. That's not allowed. But putting it up and monetizing video content, that is allowed. But again, if somebody out there makes stuffed, quaggin plushies and sells them, if ArenaNet wants to, they can say, hey, you're not allowed to do that, and that's that. Or if you want to sell on the side some of the art that you've done, or you print out a bunch of prints of art that you did, and you bring it to like a convention and sell it. Technically, you're not allowed to do that, so you shouldn't. But again, there's so many people, literally millions of people play Guild Wars, and more are coming because, which is just some news that I just thought of, that the Chinese betas have started, and there's actually streams of the Chinese betas happening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's actually different stuff too. But I'll get to that because that's really actually interesting. And thank you to Live Spartan for bringing that to my attention on Reddit. And didn't bring it to me personally, but I saw it. And it was his link.
Right.
But anyway, again, merchandising questions, whether about us or about merchandise in general, we can point you to the link that talks about using any of ANET's property that they have listed. I think when you sign up to the game, it's like part of the the EULA that nobody reads, scrolls down and clicks accept. But get a hold of us, email, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Just let us know, and we'll answer you as best we can. And again, if you're hell bent on designing Chronicles of Tyria, the font that's owned copyright Chronicles of Tyria that we'll put on all our stuff, go for it. More power to you if you like designing fonts. I'm, Comic Boons. If you want to make that a thing, go for it.
Anywho,
moving on, Commander. Well, let's talk about that. I don't actually have the link, but I'm sure Live Spartan does, and he can post it. But because he's in the chat, and we'll grab that. But the Chinese beta started, and there's people streaming. Obviously, it's in Chinese, so if you don't speak, I'm gonna guess Mandarin,
Ni hao ma.
You won't be able to understand or any of the characters. But weird different things, like when you level up, and it goes like your bar goes across and you level up. On theirs, there's a little thing that shows what stats go up, like power, precision, whatever. Like as they go up, like there's a little interface bubble that pops up that shows that. Get this, they can't get into World v World till they're level 35, and they can't get into PvP till they're level 45.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah, so you have to level up in PvE to be able to play in the other areas.
Wow.
And your weapon skills are locked by level. Like, you have, skill 1 at level 1, and then, I think at level 3 you get skills 2 and 3, and then, I think at level 9 you unlock your 5th weapon skill.
So it's almost like a different game over there. I mean, ultimately it ends up being the same, but the experience from 1 to 80 is rather different.
Yeah, I mean, it is still beta, so things may change, and Live Spartan just linked the stream right there. But a lot of people mentioned in the Reddit thread that he posted, they are different kind of people. A lot of them like grindy stuff, and that's why they're maybe going to go with the subscription model. Yeah. And this really extends, essentially in a kind of BS way, through grindiness, extends the longevity of the game by if you could only play through levels 1 through 8 with only 4 skills period and your heal, it'd be a whole different game.
Yeah, I mean, I've played Korean MMOs quite a bit, and there's definitely a different culture in those MMOs, so I can understand how that would translate to Chinese MMOs. I don't think I've ever played a Chinese MMO, but I mean, if it's gonna sell better for them over there and do better, and people are gonna like it, then more power to them. As long as they don't bring it over here, which they're not. So that's cool.
Yeah, actually, I'll link the one picture right here, because Live Spartan is a champ and always does this. Take a look at that image I just linked when you level up.
Wow.
So,
oh, wow.
See that? Plus attack, plus precision, plus toughness, plus vitality when you level up. You know what I mean? And you can see,
That's cool, because I don't know. I just know that I level up.
I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter, but you can see there's a little arrow up in the top right for whatever's going on up there next to the drop down there. I don't know if that's really relevant or not, but you can see it up there. And you can also see down the bottom that he's level 3, but skills 3, 4, and 5 that he has bound to R are locked, totally locked. And you
Yeah.
know that that's not the case. They're grayed out
Uh-huh.
until you activate them normally. And you can also see there's a timer above the healing signet as well. A timer
Yeah.
icon, something different. So pretty interesting stuff if you speak. Also, I just kind of like the surrounding the level up thing. It's kind of the gears. It looks like he's
Mhm.
playing a char, so I feel like maybe that's themed to
Oh,
the
yeah.
race.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if you speak English and you speak Mandarin and you watch the stream and can translate interesting stuff for us, I would greatly be interested because
I'll
I'm
ask
just
my
curious
husband.
how it is. So check that stuff out.
That's cool.
So yeah, just a really cool little interesting tidbit that I stumbled across on Reddit this morning. So thank you, Live Spartan. So all right, so Naveen, you want to talk about your thing that you put up there?
Yeah,
I didn't.
well, it's only one of the only things that I like about the new patch is the soundtrack. The boss fight soundtrack is absolutely amazing, and ArenaNet set it up. Well, it's not ArenaNet, it's McLean. That dude, he did it.
Yeah.
So,
That dude.
and it's pretty cool. It's actually really, really, really good. So, shout out to that. That's it. That's my news stuff.
Okay, cool.
There wasn't a whole lot this week.
No,
aside
I'll
from
link.
patch.
I'll link this Gamerzines article, which I want to point out that up until recently, I never even heard of Gamerzines.
No?
But they started. I'd never heard of them, but they're the one that got the metronome and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So here's a link to an article there. It's not really speculation if that's your thing, but it is kind of talking. It just posted today, I believe, going over a lot of the. We know stuff's happening through the spoilers we're about to reveal about today's patch. We kind of have an idea of what Scarlet may be doing. And this talks about, basically goes back and says all of the stuff that, ArenaNet has said, like the nothing is sacred, anything in Tyria can be destroyed and possibly will be destroyed, and, the changes are going to fundamentally rock Tyria to its core, and it actually seems like it may actually happen. Not just a bunch of BS that they're spewing to scare us, and one NPC that nobody ever met ever, that walks around one zone is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't know if I was on the podcast, I can't remember, where we talked about Captain, or maybe it was just me and you, Naveen, Captain Theo Ashford.
Mm-hmm.
The guy in the Captain's Council who got murdered during Dragon Bash. How many people do you think actually knew who he was or that he was significant before he died?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's only 10% of the players that actually walk around to see what NPCs wear and what they do in the game. So it's like, oh, cool, Captain's Council dude person. Who is he? Oh, he's dead? Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I only knew who he was because I did a lore bite at the time on the Captain's Council, and he was in it before I did it.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I knew who he was, and then he died. And I was like, well, if anybody watches this later, it's going to be useless. But, yeah, but it does actually seem like it may be a very large fundamental change. People are talking about, zone destruction and things. And there's a little allusion to some things that may be happening in that article. And according to Bromms' news thing, it's the end of the Grove as we know it, and I feel pine. Actually, that's today's topic, so never mind.
It's the end of the Grove as we know it. And I feel pine. With a boon.
So, alright, we'll just move on to today's topic, actually. So, the patch.
That patch.
That patch.
Do you want to go first, Naveen? Why don't you go first?
Oh, okay. Hello, Patch. I've missed you coming every 2 weeks. You're
Phrasing.
boring. No, it's not that it's boring. It's okay. Here's my way of seeing that, Patch. Okay. So there are a lot of people out there who can sit at their computer for 5 hours and wait for something to happen and have fun. And then there's other people out there who have a certain amount of time to play the game. When the patch hit, everyone was excited, myself included. And then downloaded the thing, and then we received that awesome letter who told us where to go exactly. So we headed somewhere. And we waited for 45 minutes because nothing was happening. For 45 minutes, I could have, folded my laundry, washed that crock pot that was in the sink for 2 days. I could have maybe emptied my cat's litter box. But I decided to stay at my computer desk and play and wait. Just in case if I would have left the patch, something cool would have happened. So finally something happened, and then everyone was like, what the fuck is happening? Where are we going? What do we do? And basically all you have to do is, read at the corner top right, But I didn't do that. Why? Because I'm an idiot. And I was reading map chat, guild chat. Everyone was freaking out. What do we do? Where do we go? And then, we were also in raid call. And, okay, let's go there. And what do we do? And, oh, I saw that. No, go that way. No, go the other way. So it was like a whole massive confusion fest. And not only that, but, no one was, no one knew how to beat the boss. What was the boss? Where were the bosses? Do we go to one map or do we go to the other one? When's the next box spawning? So all of these things just made me kind of frustrated. I lost 3 hours of my time where I could have been way more productive and done something much cooler. And then I haven't had the time to play afterwards. Even then, ever since the patch launch, I have not played again. Why? Because of lack of time. So the next time a patch will launch, I will wait until people know what the fuck they're doing, and I'm gonna follow them and have fun.
Okay. Wow. Bromms, would you like to bring your perspective?
Yeah. Mine is quite a bit different, as people from Twitter probably know. But I do want to say, I actually hadn't even considered that, Naveen. My schedule is pretty tight now with school and stuff, but I know it's not as busy as other people's. So I can definitely see why having those events happen on the hour and having to sit there the whole time is really not ideal for a lot of people. So my experience with the patch was basically I came home from school. It had already been out for a little while at that point, and so I got everything downloaded and jumped on. And my typical process for the patch is to turn off all of my chat channels and go in completely blind, because I get frustrated when people are spoiling stuff in map chat and guild chat, and people are just it makes me stressed out when people are like, what do we do? Where do we go? Go over here. I saw something over there. I'm like, all right, I just need to do it at my own pace. I want to go and explore stuff on my own time and not, with a big horde of people that are just running around doing stuff.
Right.
So so I got in game and the mail said where to go, and I popped into that zone. And, it was kind of the same thing. Nothing was going on. So I was running around trying to figure out exactly where this boss was. And then it finally popped up. So then I was able to run in and kind of do it. And it was cool because without having all those chat things on, you kind of had to figure it out as you go. And I like doing that with those bosses because, especially with the marionette, it's not overly complex, but there are certain things about it that are really fun to figure out, like how they work and what you have to do and all that good stuff. But beyond the marionette stuff was the story stuff that we got. That, to me, was the biggest part of the patch, and I loved it so much. There's an instance that you go to that has a bunch of exposition, and that... Did you get a chance to do that at all, Naveen?
Nope.
She did. Yes, you did.
Well, I did the instance, and then...
Okay,
Yeah,
where
where-
you, like, talk to people.
Oh, yeah,
Logan and Ritlock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that for me was just amazing. It was awesome. It was amazing. Especially with Casimir and Marjorie. Like I was, running around, and there's all this funny stuff going on with Rox and her warband, and then there's all this funny stuff going on with that new Asura and Logan, and all this funny stuff. And then you go to talk to Marjorie and Casimir, and you're just like, boom, punch you in the chest, like instant. You're feeling like sad as crap. Like, okay, awesome. They did a really good job with all the voice acting on that stuff, and it made it feel like these are real people to me, which is something that they've kind of done before, but it was just awesome to see all that kind of coming together. And then, even more than that, sorry to keep rambling on, was Scarlet's little hideout. That to me was awesome too, and I spent at least an hour in there looking around at all this stuff, taking thousands of screenshots. Not thousands, but just trying to figure out like what all is in here that we know, what's in here that we don't know, what can we do with it. Like, to me, that was the most exciting part. I like the boss fights a lot, but the story stuff was just so awesome. And then talking to people and trying to figure out like what's going on with this and what do you think it is, and coming up with theories and blah blah blah. So
Okay.
yeah,
Easy there, killer. Easy. All right.
Yeah.
Let's. I'm gonna take a more objective approach to this because
That's
we've heard
probably
the very negative, or very negative. I guess it'd be this way.
No, whatever.
I always get confused.
I don't know. I honestly don't know if I would call Naveen's negative so much as just
Very realistic.
yeah.
I'm gonna still call it negative.
Okay.
It's not negative. It's. Look, listen. I know it's a game. It's fun and all, but I'm not being negative. I'm being realistic, and I'm not sucking up to ANET, even though I love that company oh so freaking much. But there are bad sides of it sometimes to people, and it's not all dreamy, patootie, and whatever. So
Sorry. Is the Twitch frozen for you too, Naveen?
no.
Oh, it was for a second there, and Bromms and my screen, and people said lag, and Bromms' face was like, and that's why I think people said Bromms is. Oh, I don't know if that's why Bromms was beginning to froth, or just because he was going nuts.
Oh.
Oh, thanks.
There you go. Bromms is having a nerdgasm. That's it.
I'm just gonna change my face that all time.
I double
All right.
dare you.
But so let me.
Yeah.
I logged in with Naveen, and I was there through the whole thing she's talking about. And again, we kind of already spoiled it, but spoiler alert: everything we already said and are going to say is going to spoil everything.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to know, leave now. That's okay. Come check back later after you play it. That's fine. But what happens is, to start to figure out where you need to go with your little living story pop up in the corner there, you need to encounter the marionette boss in Lornar's Pass. You got the letter from whoever sent you the letter, Marjorie? I don't remember. Somebody sends you the letter
Someone
and says go here in Lornar's Pass. So you go there and you wait, at least ideally the first time, for the boss to spawn. He spawns whether you pass or fail, which the first time everybody failed. Then it tells you go meet up with your allies in Lion's Arch, and that's what Bromms was talking about, the story instance.
Mhm.
I have a lot of things to say about this, but I can sum it up pretty quick. Excellently done. The voice acting was good. I like that we didn't have stupid personal story cutscenes. We had like legit cutscenes, not even cutscenes.
Yeah.
It was in-game footage, and that's fine.
It was so freaking cheesy.
Really?
Finish here. You had your turn. It's my turn.
Oh,
now.
sorry.
Listen, woman, you just
Woman! Oh, well, now.
It's
boom
on.
in.
Oh, hey guys, I think my
Let me go
laundry's-
make you a sandwich.
I'm pretty hungry, but
put some extra Boon sauce on that.
Oh, yes.
All right, anyway.
Pastor next says bon appetit, but
Boon tato. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Oh my god. Now, somebody... I don't even know
Do you
where
have
to go.
any Grey Boonjon?
Oh!
Alright, anyway, go ahead, Lag. Sorry.
So
sorry.
anyway, I liked the voice acting. I liked the way it was done. I liked using in-game footage, essentially, to do that. I like the NPC who recaps everything that happened in the living story in case maybe you're a new player and you're like, what's going on? Why is there giant clockwork boob thing in the sky stomping on people?
Boob thing?
Marionette.
You
Listen,
could have chosen so many words, but you went with boob.
Yeah, because several people in our guild refer to that as the metal booby woman.
Oh my god, our guild is so mature.
That's Casey for you, by the way. I want to put that out there.
Casey's still alive?
Yeah, we've been playing the Marionette almost every time.
Oh, well, excuse me, princess, but...
Oh,
Yes.
man.
Yes.
Oh, God. Bad
God.
cartoon. Could have been so much better.
Oh, excuse.
Who's me?
Never
Okay.
got a kiss. That poor bastard.
One of these days you'll actually be able to finish the sentence, Lag. But today is not that day.
No, today is not that day.
Sorry. No, I'm not.
But there was the NPC who recaps the living story for everybody, and that was really cool.
Booner unit.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I'll just mute myself. Sorry.
So that was really cool, and I did like what it took them a year. Oh my God! It took them a year
Just ignore
to.
it.
Yeah, I'm going to. It took them a year to get to the point where they're actually realizing that making us get invested in the NPCs is a good idea, because like that's basically what this was how can we need to make the characters seem like people. Not just, like you have that whole thing with Ritlock where Ritlock and Rocks, and she's like, Ritlock's kind of just a dick to her, and she's like, whatever, I still want to join your warband, and Bram's like, you don't have to do that, that's stupid, you're special to me. And then she's like, it's a Char thing, you wouldn't understand. And he's like, whatever, and he walks off to go find
It
Timey.
was a temper tantrum. Yeah.
Yeah. Who, by far, one of the best Assyrian characters.
Absolutely.
Timey.
Not.
She's great.
Wow. How can you not like that character?
Oh, she's so annoying.
My name's Naveen, and I don't like things that are fun.
That's exactly how she sounds like.
Anyway.
Whatever.
So there's that whole thing, the interaction with Logan Thackeray. Whatever. And then he walks over to go talk to Marjorie, and then you have the Marjorie and Casimir thing, which is fine, but here's my start of the griping with this. I mean, obviously this was the most exposition-y thing they could ever do, and the fact that we didn't have any knowledge of the characters' backstory or depth or reasons to care about them for a year, and then all of a sudden in one fell swoop we just get everything, seems a little forced, and obviously it was, but like regardless, that's done, we can't change that, but going forward they need to have like little bits like this in every piece of Living Story if they want to keep going this way with the second story arc, so we're invested and we care about these characters. Marjorie brought up E, which is someone we haven't really heard about at all, which is really interesting because he's one of the few things that nobody really knows anything about. There's a lot of theories going around about who he could be. Maybe it's Marjorie's dad or Casimir's dad. Maybe it's Casimir's brother Kyle. Who knows? I don't know why he's named E and not K. But my other part of this is I find it very hard to believe that they're in whatever kind of relationship they're in, and they've been working together for what we can assume has been quite a while. And they never talked about any of that, ever. Like, why did you come to work for me? Why did you need a job? Well, because I don't have any money, even though I'm a noble. Well, doesn't that strike you as weird? Great detective of Divinity's Reach? Like, the Ministry Guard abducted her father. You work in Divinity's Reach. You don't know any of this?
It's funny because you're frozen.
I don't care.
You're not frozen to me, buddy.
Thanks.
Oh, Bromms is frozen too. Oh, it must be my Skype. Sorry,
Yeah, I
guys.
guess.
Oh, lag is back.
Yeah, so it's Browns. But you know what I mean?
If you don't mind me interrupting you for just 1 second about with the whole Casimir and Marjorie thing, I can definitely understand what you're saying, and I do absolutely agree that I would really like to see more of this character interaction and character backgrounds and the fleshing out, like making them real people. That's something they need to continue doing in all of the stuff, because it not only makes them feel like real characters, but it makes the whole world feel like there's actually stuff going on. And so, but going back to Casimir, I almost kind of got the impression that they wanted to play her off as this really ditzy kind of just whatever character, and then eventually drop that big bomb and say she's actually got a lot of stuff going on and she is a real character. She's not just like this ditzy thing that everyone thought she was. I don't know. That could be A-net apologetics at their finest. But it definitely didn't seem cheesy to me when I watched it. But different strokes for different folks. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it twice. I did it the first time, and then I went in to help other people go through it. So I've been through the instance twice, the whole set of everything. And the first time around, I was just excited about new content. The second time around, I looked at it more objectively, and that's where I came up with these why has none of this stuff ever come up in the past? You know what I mean?
yeah.
I feel like if you're going to start a relationship with someone, maybe you talk about the fact that you have no money and you need a job because of all the gambling debt, which also could potentially make you a target. If they didn't get all they wanted out of your dad, they might come after you. You're especially now that you have standing in Tyria.
It brings up a good point that I think a lot of people in gaming stuff seem to forget about. And this is directed specifically at A-net. These people have lives outside of this exposition instance. They're walking around together to these points. They're, during the month-long event of the tower, Marjorie and Casimir are just standing in that one room waiting for the player. There's stuff going on, and their interactions need to reflect that. So in that regard, I definitely agree with you that they should. There's got to be time when they sit down and talk about that stuff, and it shouldn't be, on the beach 6 months after we figured out who they are, stuff like that. So focusing on them actually having lives is really important. But I felt like the Rocks and Bromms stuff. Yeah, there we go. The Rocks and Bromms stuff actually seemed really cool to me, because it makes sense that wouldn't come out until Rocks was almost ready to join the warband. Like she's got that in sight now. It's not just some far off thing. And so I really liked what they did with that whole thing. And I think that Rocks is going to turn down the warband when she finally gets a chance to join it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
This has got to be with Broham, as Matt Visual calls him.
Bro.
But here's another thing that I said, like you said, I mean, if you find them out and about and they have voice acted story that develops their character a little bit, then, because Theo Ashford, like we talked about, perfect example. Were you gravely devastated when Theo Ashford was murdered at Dragon Bash? Did you even know who he was? If this was one of these characters that now we're kind of growing, let's say the culmination of this whole thing, Marjorie gets killed. People would be upset about that. That would be something people I mean, again, we just got some exposition. We don't know too much about her, but if she died, people would be upset. I would be upset. Imagine if they took the time during the personal story to have little doubts and character flaws and things like this about Traherne, right? What if he, at one point, you're going along and he just says, I can't. This is so much burden that's been put on me by my mother to do all this and cleanse ore, and this is one person is supposed to do. How can I? And he just complete mental breakdown, and you need to help like through dialogue choices. I mean, pretend this is a BioWare game for a second. Get him out of that depression and tell him that no, together we can do this and we can unite these forces. Make him a person, not just this annoying asshole that everybody hates. Like, that kind of stuff makes a character likable. And if we had that, then maybe Traherne wouldn't be so hated. I don't know.
Son posted a link in the chat room, and it's story. It's Marjorie's story, The Last Straw, Part 2. And it dates from June 21st. And I don't know why I've never read that.
It was one of the ones that went up on the site.
Yeah, but I've never read it. I don't know why. And E is actually in there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's again, another great example of putting that NPC that explains very briefly the living story. Why couldn't we have something like that does those blog posts that tell us the story? Because again, that's from June, and you never saw it. But that's a huge piece of Marjorie's backstory. Yeah. That if you didn't read that one article, and like it's not like it's easy to go, you got to go back and find it through the archives from ANET's site, or check, or know to check the wiki.
I know that's something that we've said before, but they need to do that. They need to put that stuff that's on the website into the game, because I guarantee you that most people don't go to the website to read those things. Even people that care about the lore don't go there to read those things. If they were in the game, I think there's such a better chance of people finding them and reading them and being interested in them. Yeah, they need to do that somehow. But
well, so that's my piece on the story instance, and then you can eventually get to Scarlet's hideout. But to do that, you need to basically do a bunch of fetch quests to get 25 of each item that makes a cipher and 50 power cores to allow you to enter Scarlet's lair. But before, I want to talk about the two new bosses. The Marionette, I absolutely love that fight. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I have done it. At this point, oh god, what has there been? Maybe 36 instances or so of that? 48? Wow. Well, think about it. It started at around...
Oh, you mean total?
Total.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, what, one every other hour? So let's assume it started at noon. So, 12 to 12 the next day.
It didn't start at noon, because we patched at noon, and then we could play at 1.
I'm trying to be realistic here. So what?
36? I am realistic. That's exactly what happened.
I'm trying to make the math easy. Oh. Let's say 40, okay? Let's say 40 total instances of that and 40 instances of the worm. I've probably done at least 15, 16 instances of the Marionette, and I've only passed 1. But I wasn't discouraged enough to not go back.
Yeah.
And I've been flipping on my commander tag and commanding probably 14 out of those 15 runs. Picking a lane, going to the lane that needs a commander, which is usually 4 and 5 because nobody ever goes over there. And then, taking the time to run and spell out every single mechanic to everybody that's there in Say Chat, and then keep things positive. Come on, guys, we can do this. We're going in. Come on, team. Lane 1. We failed. We need you guys. Pull it through. We can do this. I'm gonna send 15 guys over. We got enough here. They're coming over to help you out at 2 when you guys get into the instance. And it works. I mean, it's been done without voice chat. As far as I know, in some of these almost pug basically, and it works. And you get if you sever 1 chain, you get a reward. If you sever 2 chains, you get a better reward, and so on all the way up to 5 chains. And if you complete it, you get that reward plus a boss chest that gives you crazy awesome stuff. The achievements themselves that are tied to that are fairly simple to get, which is nice. All in all, a great fight. I wish that could stay over the worm. And I will explain why, having done maybe 10 worm instances, because I stopped because I didn't care about it anymore. But the story behind that is Scarlet has this giant flying saucer with a tractor laser beam that for some reason is holding a giant marionette that the only purpose is to then focus energy back up into the laser beam to then laser people. Can't you just get rid of the marionette and just frickin' Independence Day Tyria, you know, and just blow everything up with your flying saucer?
That would have been a better patch.
Yep, we gotta get in our charged jet fighters and fly up and shoot our missiles up inside and the laser goes up to blow it up. And, you know...
I want Will Smith. I want Will Smith in my team.
And, yeah,
Jeff Goldblum.
Welcome to Earth.
If we give Scarlet a virus...
This might work.
But you know, like I said, the mechanics they're interesting enough for the champion-based mechanics. They're not too difficult as long as it's explained clearly and everybody's on the same page. Some of the mechanics are mechanics we've never seen before. I think, like the hitting the enemy from behind, like that one only. Like I think that's a new mechanic. And I think the kiting the enemy into its own bombs is also a new type mechanic, or something I've never seen before.
Sort
Maybe
of like
there's in like a fractal or something that I never did.
Yeah, well, there's like that boss in COE, the Crucible of Eternity, that you have to like drag into the walls to do damage.
Oh, right.
It's kind of like that, but it is legitimately different. It's just a similar mechanic. It's not exactly the same, but yeah.
And tower defense Tyria, how great is that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Up until that, where you build barricades and you have your siege weapons, and you know you only have a limited number of hammers to rebuild your barricades. And like I think they can make a really cool PvP type setup, or a section of world versus world or something that uses that tower defense type mechanic, where like you know certain number of repair things spawn, or like you know. You can choose to be the guy that runs the hammer, the repair hammer, but you lose access to some stuff, so you're weaker. But you can put up barricades to stop the enemy from getting through. I think that could be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's my little piece to add on about the marionette is something that we had talked about earlier. I love that it's hard enough that it's still difficult, but it's not so hard that you have to get all of this organization together to do it. You can get a group of people that aren't all in the same guild and not all on raid call or whatever, and they can still succeed. And I think that's because they gave us margins of error. So if there's one weak lane or even two weak lanes, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to lose the whole event. So it allows for stronger lanes to pick up the slack of others. It's not like Tequatl or the Jungle Worm, where if there's one side that messes up, everyone fails. That's just how it is. So I would love to see more content, fight-wise, mechanics-wise, like the marionette. Maybe not so much with the time scaling, but yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, I definitely like it, and you can't neglect the tower defense piece of it, because if enough champions run in, your bar will continue to tick up. And I guess we should explain that. There's an Aether Cannon power bar, and if it starts empty, and if it fills all the way up, then you lose, and everybody that was involved in the event gets killed instantly. I'd like to point out that people don't read anything that's up in the corner.
Yep.
Because somebody, one of the first few instances I was in, was bitching constantly about how come we lost. And I said, well, the power bar filled up. And they're like, everywhere else in the game, you want the power bar to go down, and that's how you win. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Really? That's what you're complaining about? Because the other few times you've done events like this, the bar going down is better, so that's why you're upset?
I will say that my first time doing it, like I said, this was probably the second or third time that it had gone off on the server because of when I logged in. So I got in, and our lane was doing really well. Like, we managed to knock out the chain and everything, and I was watching that bar, and it was going up. And now I know it's because it goes up whenever one of the chains fails or whenever a champion gets through the gate. But I didn't know that at the time. And so we got that bar all the way up, and it kicks into the animation where she charges up the beam. And I was like, oh my god, we beat it the first time? And then all these death rays start coming down from the sky, and you're like, blah, and everyone's dying. And we're like, oh, maybe that was bad.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I definitely, I like it. I like the mechanic. I mean, you know, and again, when you get ported in to fight, essentially it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 lanes that kind of radially go out from the center. And, you know, you start off doing the tower defense, and then the portal gets charged and your group goes in. So lane 1 goes in, right? They get split into 5 separate groups. Each group has a champion. They need to defeat the champion, which then takes the shielding down of the generator, kill the generator. All 5 generators killed within 2 minutes. Chain that holding up the marionette is severed. Then they come back out of the portal, and the tower defense piece starts back up. And then lane 2 now has 30 seconds to prep because they're going in. But since lane 1 defeated it, each time you cut a chain, the events get harder and harder, or the champions get harder and harder. The first one, you need to attack the enemy from behind is the only way to damage it. It won't take any other damage. So, usually it'll target or latch on to somebody. That person kind of pulls the aggro, and then everybody else DPSs it from behind. Doesn't always work. If everybody splits and it can't decide who it wants to go to, the event fails. The second chain is a little spinny robot guy, like a tentacle-y, I forget what it's called, but he drops mines, and he's invulnerable. The only way to damage him is drag him into one of his own mines. It blows up, then he's stunned, and you can damage him. This is another one where if everybody splits out and does the natural thing to avoid the bombs, it'll just keep laying bombs, chasing people, and you don't ever get it to go back into one of its own bombs. So grouping up and dodging through the champion, you know, through it, so it'll turn around and come back into its own bombs is usually one of the best ways to do it. But if that gets miscommunicated, then, you know, that lane will fail. The next one is just high damage. It's all about dodging, managing your dodges, and avoiding bombs, and just DPSing down a big Watch Knight guy. Then the next one is basically the same kind of thing, but there's really high confusion, and you'll melt yourself almost instantly if you're not paying attention to the confusion. So it's DPS and confusion, so avoid that. And the 5th chain, I actually haven't. That's a good spot for me to freeze on the Twitch stream with my arm across my face. The 5th one I personally haven't done, but from what I've heard from everybody is it's just a DPS check. Just kill them as fast as you can while avoiding their attacks, and the whole time the marionette itself is also attacking.
Yeah.
So if you manage to defeat all 5 within the time limit and keep the bar down, while keeping the bar not at full, you win. If you keep no champions from getting up the lanes into the portal, you can fail 5 times and still be able to win. But, you know, usually 1 or 2 will get through, and one lane's only got 10 people, and there's like a leak and stuff's going through. There's been a lot of period tampon jokes made about leaks. You know, guys, lane 3's leaking, and then like they'll get in map chat a bunch of blasts like, put your damn tampons in lane 3, stop the leaks. And then, you know, it's map chat, so it is what it is.
It's maturity at its finest.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that, I would say that's... and when you come back out of the portal, you get energy sickness, which you cannot enter another portal for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can go out and then go right over and help the next team. So usually as it goes on, lane 1 and 2 seem to get a lot of people because they're right near the one waypoint. So usually what'll happen is when lane 1 finishes, they'll send like 5 people over to lane 4, and when lane 2 finishes, they send people to lane 5, and you kind of continue that cycle so that you always have enough people to deal with the bosses.
There's 2 things I just want to touch on real quick, and then we can move on.
Yeah, sure.
The first is the only real improvement I think that I would make is just to randomize the lanes so they don't always go in the same order. Just to throw it up, or just to change it up a little bit. But the other thing is, it uses new graphics for the red circles, and I so badly want them to implement that to all red circles across
Yeah.
the board. They're so easy to see. They're not. There's just no ambiguity that there's a red circle there. It's very obvious. It's very obvious to see the whole radius. It's awesome, and I hope they do that on everything from now on, and I hope they retroactively put them in, because that would be super awesome. But I don't know if they're going to.
And just one last piece on that. There's also not circular based AoEs anymore.
Yeah.
The marionette does a long rectangle based AoE, and the one does a scream that goes out in like a triangular cone. So it's cool to see something that's not just a circle anymore. I mean, we had kind of lines, you know, if you're like an elementalist, you put down like the wall of fire, but this is like a chunky rectangle that goes across the whole map. But anyway, that's the marionette. The other thing is Scarlet's towers that are, you know, things that have been thumping the ground, disturbed a jungle worm in Bloodtide Coast. A 3-headed jungle worm. Almost ridiculously impossible is this, because I've seen probably just about every different piece of it, but never done them all together. So, very cool start. It splits off into 3 escort missions that go to 3 different parts of the map. You follow your little Asura that goes to whichever part, and there's 3 worms pop out at each spot. Cobalt worm, an amber worm, and a crimson worm. Now, the first time, this was a total clusterfuck. There's no other way to describe it. Because every single worm has a different mechanic, and nobody knew that. I went to one worm, Naveen was at a different worm, and everybody in the map chat's talking about dropping kegs on the worm, and we're like, there are no kegs.
Yeah.
Mine says throw harpoons. There's no harpoons. I don't understand. So basically, what it does is, you know, the cobalt worm, and this is actually a really interesting mechanic, it has really tough armor. And the only way to damage it is to drop 20 powder kegs next to the worm. The powder kegs explode, and if all 20 explode relatively close to one another, it knocks the worm's armor off, it goes vulnerable, and you can melt it. Right? You've got about 12 minutes, I think, or 10 minutes to kill all 3 worm heads.
12, yeah.
But one of the kegs is on land. The other 2 kegs are out on like jumping puzzles in the water, and if you fall in the water, you lose your keg and have to start over. So you have to jump with your keg along the little like boxes in the water, or run along a path, and then bring it over. But if you fall in the water, you lose. If you get hit, your bomb blows up, and you have to do it again. So that's the mechanic for the cobalt worm. Amber worm, the only time you ever want to get eaten by anything in Tyria. You kill a plague carrier and get it covered in worm attractant, which makes it want to eat you. You get a whole group to pile up on this thing. The worm goes underground, comes up, graboid style, eats everybody there, and then you get stuck inside the worm's stomach. And normally, everybody's reaction is, let's hit the stomach valve and get thrown up. But there's a skeleton that you would probably never notice in the corner holding a harpoon. At least 20 of you need to go grab the harpoon, and then you can use the harpoon to stab your way out. And essentially, this harpoon is now coated with the worm's own stomach bile.
Yuck.
And then you get thrown up out of the worm, and then 20 of you, within relatively close timing of one another, need to throw your harpoon at the worm. That takes off its slick skin armor, it goes down, you can DPS it. Amber worm. Very tricky, because when you get spit up, there's a time limit for how long before you can get the worm attractant on you again. So if you mess up the first time and that was your whole group, you have to just wait until the time limit runs out. So it's good to have 2 groups. And then there's the crimson worm, which is ideally the easiest one to do, but the most time consuming. There are phototoxic clouds floating around, red, blue, and yellow, and you have to run through the toxin to absorb it. Doesn't damage you at all. and then run into its. There's 3 toxin collectors: a red, blue, and yellow collector. You run, and then you run into the collector, and then it deposits it there. And when all 3 collectors are full, it shoots a bomb at the worm. The worm goes down, and you can DPS the worm. Fairly simple, in the grand scheme of things. Now, absolutely most ridiculous part of the whole thing. If you defeat that worm, you just cut its head off, but it's not dead. You cut its head off, and then its head starts running around. Its head has Defiance, it's a legendary level creature, and it can't be hit by Immobilize. So, now, once you kill a worm and decapitate it, you now have 1 minute to kill everything else. So, if you decapitate one worm, it goes to 1 minute, and if you don't kill everything else in that minute, you fail. But you do, however, get a chest, like you do from the marionette for severing a chain. So, if you kill the second worm, its head pops off, and you get a minute again. And then the same thing happens, but then you have to kill the heads. So, I did this only for the amber worm, but it runs around like crazy. And with like 50 of us there, we couldn't kill it because we couldn't catch it. And that's the mechanic. So not only do you need to down these 3 super awesome bosses, you need to do it within relative close to one another time frame. And then when the head pops off and starts running around, then you need to kill all 3 heads. So, for crappy looking armor skins, by the way, put that out there. Freaking nasty ass worm intestine rifle. I don't know what that was about.
It's pretty nasty.
Right? It doesn't and it moves.
I feel like the worm is something that it's one of those things that I might just never get done. Like maybe I'll luck out sometime and find a group of people that are doing it, but that to me that's just a little too much. I'd like to do it once just to say I did it, but I personally didn't really enjoy Tequaddle all that much, and so I have a feeling I'm not going to really enjoy this one too much. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's for like super hardcore guilds and stuff, maybe it's a good thing. I don't know.
And for those of you that are curious about the armor, I saw that come up in chat. It's only head, shoulders, and gloves, and it's identical to the Ascended armor, just with like goopy green nastiness on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's the equivalent of what Tequaddle's weapons were, basically. Like the same skins with a special effect.
Yeah. And then, well, now we might as well, Naveen, talk about those pictures.
All right.
So, if you get all of the ciphers and pieces of code you need, you can go into Scarlet's secret lair in Lornar's Pass.
Which is placed in a very interesting place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's well, we're spoiling everything.
So might as well spoil it.
It's through a secret wall in the Guild Rush area.
Below the Priory.
Yes.
Which is, yeah.
Very
right below the Priory. So yeah, what I don't know if you have your own theories about all that stuff, but I've been like trying to work on the grand scheme of things from her little lab area, so I don't know where you want to start with all that.
Well, I guess what I'll just describe real quick is each 25 piece, you get the cipher, it opens up a chest. The chest is the equivalent of opening a world boss chest, so you get at least one rare and a handful of other stuff, Dragonite ore and a few other things. And you get a piece of Scarlet's diary. And if you double click the diary, it shows up on screen, but then it's also voice acted and read out loud to you, which is nice.
Yes.
And if you get all 5 pieces, it combines into Scarlet's journal, or diary, whatever it's called. And there's additional dialogue, and you can read through it all. And there's a secret code that you can decipher from within there, and that I won't spoil. That'll be fun for you guys to figure out. And then you go to the console, you enter the code into the console, and then images start popping up on the screen. And that's really all you need to do in there. And then everything else is all just speculation looking at stuff.
There is one really interesting aspect about that is that Scarlet has always kind of sounded a little crazy, but in her journal, it basically it basically kind of shows you her transition into what she has become, and her voice is very calm and normal. It's just a really cool kind of it's a really cool comparison with how she normally sounds. So I'm glad they voice acted it, because otherwise I think that would have been missed.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk. I guess let's show some pictures,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about that. We're gonna have some pictures we're gonna show you from inside Scarlet's lair.
Yeah, so the first one is the dragon one.
Okay. Bromms, you want to explain what this is?
Yeah. So basically, if you look around her lab on the ceiling, there is this picture, and it's basically the it's clearly a dragon. There's really nothing else it can be. It's a dragon. And it kind of extends all the way around the cave ceiling and down the wall. I personally feel like it's the jungle dragon, but I don't know. It doesn't look like any of the dragons we've seen so far, really. But in her
one.
the one. But in her journal, she talks about this voice that spoke to her and how she looked into the abyss and just things like that. And to me, she also talks about death, destruction, and despair or something. Terms that are very, that seem to be associated with dragons. Mm-hmm. So I feel like she actually saw or spoke to one of the dragons, and that's what kind of started her descent into the whole madness thing. And then she got transformed into Scarlet once all the it was the like not an echo chamber, isolation chamber. That's the word I'm looking for. Once she was in there, and then she came out and she was Scarlet. But yeah, I feel like that dragon image is very important, and it's almost, you almost miss it if you don't look up at the ceiling, because it's kind of camouflaged in there. But
yeah, it's like a long neck T-Rex. The paleontologist in me applauds the accuracy of a Tyrannosaurus skull. But I would like to point out that at the beginning she's talking all about how she had these like disturbing dreams and they're messing with her head. And at one point she says, "I think maybe I'll see a mender," which is the Sylvari equivalent of like a healer, like a medicinal, like a doctor. So in the beginning, she just thought something was wrong and sought medical help to try to fix it. Right. And as you continue to read through the journal, she continues to get crazier and crazier till she becomes the Scarlet that we know. Mm-hmm. So again, pretty interesting. I would have loved to have seen the Scarlet story that we saw on the website about her past somehow told through cutscenes or whatnot in game. But again, maybe we can just hope going forward that that's what happens. Yeah. All right. So what's the next picture coming up?
The next picture is the 4 arrows.
Okay.
Okay. So this one was like super mind blowing. What? I don't want to say I figured it out. I was talking with people and specifically I was talking with my son. We were trying to work out exactly what all these pictures meant. And you can see on the picture, there's the 4 arrows kind of converging on those 4 X's. I don't know exactly what the arrows mean, but if you match up those X's with the map, they match up to each of the 3 order headquarters and Lion's Arch, so the Lion Guard. So it seems to me that she's trying to take out the 3 orders and the Lion Guard for whatever reason. I mean, it is Scarlet. She's trying to take out all kinds of stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw attacks on those 4 objectives sometime soon, because that's what it looks like she's going after. That also feeds into the dragon hypothesis for me, because the orders are basically what stopped Zaitan. And so if she can take out those orders, that means the dragons kind of have free reign. They don't have anyone to oppose them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the soundest explanation for why. And yes, the X's clearly match up for where those locations are. And we know the Lion Guard in Lion's Arch are able to stave off invasions from we saw the Karka and the Dragon Bash invasion as well. So that again is something you get after you put the secret code into the console. It's like 4 images flash. You see like 2 images of just maps with all those black circles on them. One is a drill, like a big, like a spinny top drill bit that looks like it would burrow into the ground, and then those X's. So what's the drill for? A lot of people are saying maybe Primordius because he's underground, and we saw that one image of the broken Asurigate, and the Asuran used...
I'm sorry, what? I found the pictures.
Oh, okay. Which picture?
The pictures of all the stuff and...
Oh, okay. So why don't we move to the next picture?
Sorry, one other thing. Just you can keep it on there. You don't have to switch back. Everyone has been kind of speculating on what these thumpers are, and if you look at those maps, there's little black dots on each of them that kind of ping, and it seems like those thumpers are set in a way that they send out a signal to kind of notate where whatever those black dots indicate are. So I have no idea what those black dots are, but there's a ton of them all over the place, and it seems like that's what the thumpers are trying to find. So whatever those are, they're important. But
okay, so the Twitch stream is a little laggy for me here, so I can't see what's up there right now.
The connect the dots one, the creatures with the lines.
Oh, okay. So this is probably my favorite image from in there. This is Scarlet's alliances and Scarlet's failed alliances. If you take a look at that image, you can see all the alliances she was planning on making that she crossed out and decided, maybe that one isn't the best idea. So you can see the ones that she did choose are in there, and I'm going to try to pull it up because my Twitch stream is so far behind. But there's a lot of interesting ones in there, like the Centaur Hylek alliance, which I think would be hilarious. So if you start on the left side and go down, it goes Silvari, Asura, Char, Etten. I'm going to guess Harpy?
I think that's Largos.
Oh, it might be Largos. What do you think that is below Largos?
I have no idea.
Maybe, I don't know.
Ogres?
Maybe. And then there's something else that I can't tell what it is, and then Centaur. And then I think it goes Tengu, I'm thinking is top right.
Yeah, I think Tengu.
Then that's Dredge. Then the Aether Blades is the third one down. Then it's Skrit, Quaggan, Crate, something. That might be Ogres.
Ettins?
Maybe.
Or, Jotun. That might be Jotun.
Oh, Jotun. Yeah.
Because Etten is across from Skrit because you see the two heads.
Right.
And then Hylek. So, but I love some of the, like, maybe they would work. Like the Quaggan Centaur alliance. Would be pretty interesting. The Largos Tengu alliance would have been very interesting.
Is that one the Etten Skrit alliance?
Yes, the Etten Skrit alliance.
Yeah.
So just a pretty interesting thing, and then you can see a very prominent image on the right side is this the tree, which we're all assuming is the Pale Tree, wrapped in these red, villainous-looking thorns.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are speculating that with all the talk in that one article I linked at the beginning of the destruction of Tyria and rocking it to its core and nothing is sacred, that maybe the grove will burn or the Pale Tree will burn. And she's made several things about burning and groves and stuff like that in like her little notices and things to people. Kodan might be in there as well, people are saying. Yeah. Oh, you know what it is on the bottom? Naveen, we should have known what's right above Centaurs. That's Grawl.
Oh.
Right. I completely forgot that even existed.
Ooh la la, wee la.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's in Guild Wars 1, though.
Yeah.
No, they can talk in Guild Wars 2. They're
Yeah.
totally cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to the next picture.
All right, so the next picture is basically the desk with that tree thorn thingy. So we already covered that.
Yeah, and you can kind of see there's a little eye on the table there, the red eye next
Oh,
on the
yeah.
right side of the table. And the only reason I put that is because we've seen that on a couple of places, but that red kind of eye-shaped thing shows up in several parts of her lair. It's not just in it's on a bunch of different walls.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
all right.
I thought that was a portal diagram, but I don't know.
Maybe it's a portal diagram. Maybe I don't know. So
It could also be whatever that abyss thing is that she's talking about.
That's true too. So what's the third image now, Naveen?
There's...
Top down on a table.
Pardon me?
Is it a table?
It's your
Top
shiny
down?
hair.
And it's like looking above my head.
Yeah.
Okay, the thing that's on the table there, like the little platter, I'm 100% convinced that that's a carcass scale.
Okay.
And then you see there's the green quartz that we had from the Aether Blades is also there.
Yeah.
Up at the top there. So, and you got all the watchwork pieces as well. So it just shows that she's been studying everything.
I also like the little scale model of the thumper.
Yeah. And I didn't actually look under the table. It looks like there's a couple things under there as well.
There's just real quick on the diagram under the scale model, you can see there's a thumper and it's sending out shockwaves like downward, but there's also something below it that's sending shockwaves upward.
That's
So-
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she's definitely looking for something. And that's whatever those black dots are that are on the other map that we had showed earlier, but I have no idea what they actually are.
Yeah. All right, and then the final one.
Is you looking over the desk
paper?
with the long scroll, and the green thingamajig.
That's the stuff that Kanik put onto the Karka in South Sun that made them go crazy.
Oh, yeah?
The stuff that we
Right.
have to backpack up.
Right.
Ah.
Yeah.
So that's
The
that.
Skelerite stuff.
Yeah, the sclerite, and then you see on
Yeah.
the right there, that's also an exact scale model of the injector that
Yes.
was used to inject the tower in Kessex Hills. So,
Yeah.
so I just put these pictures in here just because it shows that, and they kind of talked about it, but she had her fingers either in or was studying or at least present through everything that happened. Even Canuck in South Sun, even she had stuff for the, the crystals from the Zephyrite Sanctum, which wasn't a very big place and was floating in the sky, but somehow she got quartz shards out of there,
I love how there's all that stuff in there, and there's stuff we don't know. There's all of the history of the stuff we do know. Like, it's just a really cool instance for story stuff in there.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. The only other things they added a couple of new mini pets, worm-based mini pets. There's a couple of mini pets you can get as drops. There's the mini Watchwork Moa, which is adorable, and I want it, but you have to get it.
How do you get it?
It's just a drop from the Marionette.
Oh, okay.
It'll be like the mini Tequatl, so probably just as rare.
Is it one of the drops you only get once a day?
I would be willing to bet out of the chest.
Right.
But you know how rare that'll be because it's only around for a limited time.
Yeah. Oh, that's so unfortunate. It's such a fun fight. Anyway.
And there's also a mini exotic worm, I think. I don't know if that's a worm head and it runs around differently. But that was added. They added a mini the worm finisher. I didn't look at that.
They added the new gear sets, which are kind of
Yep.
cool, and the new recipes.
Yeah, and you can actually get the recipes from either the Scarlet Lair. You can also get them from the events. I've actually received a handful of the Ascended inscriptions and recipes from just opening the chests in Scarlet's Lair.
Yeah, same.
The only other thing that I would mention is there's been a few little tweaks. Now, if you go to the little cog and go to deposit all collectibles, it doesn't automatically deposit your mini pets.
Yes, so
you have
nice.
to manually right-click the individual mini pet to send it there.
That was actually a very good thing to add.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice.
And then the only other thing is they altered, and this affects me more than anybody else, is they altered the way Black Lion chests work. And I have a little bit of insight into that, and then we'll end it here. But having bought my fair share of chests and supporting ArenaNet in all their endeavors many times over, love you, Ruby. This is all for you. Your full salary. Enjoy your bonus. But they tweaked it now. When you previously opened a Black Lion chest, you would get a mysterious tonic, usually, almost all the time, a booster of some kind, and then like one or two kind of like weird items. You know, that's kind of how it worked. Sometimes you'd get like one random copper, sometimes randomly in there. As we know, Bromms got 700 karma boosters out of 700 Black Lion chests. Well, fear not, Bromms, because there's no more karma boosters inside Black Lion chests. The way this works now, which is positive and negative, and I'll explain, is opening a Black Lion chest gives you three things. Okay, one of them is always a booster.
Mm-hmm.
The other two can be anything. Now that booster is comprised of boosters that you can't buy in the gem store. Attack boosters, defense boosters, regeneration boosters. They also added a gathering booster now, so like you have an increased chance of getting, more uses out of your pick when you go to mine something. I don't really think that's useful, but whatever. But you can get any two things in the other two slots. This has the potential to be amazing and awful. And in buying several keys, it doesn't really pay to buy like one key, because you need like to buy a chunk to get a collective amount over time. Because you could open one Black Lion chest and in those three slots get a attack point booster, one identified die, and then two identified dies. And that's what you got out of the Black Lion chest. 3 dies and a booster. And you spent gems for that? That's awful. That's the worst thing ever. Because you could have spent 6 silver and done the same thing. Or whatever dies go for now. I don't know. Probably more than that. But, or I opened one and I got 2 of the Tomes of Knowledge, the things that level up a character 1. I got 2 and a booster in 1. So, like, you could get something really good, 2 exotics in 1, or, 2, mystery tonic booster. That's awful. No one needs that. But they, unfortunately now, if you get the endless mystery tonic, which is the thing that turns you into trees, now they can be traded and sold. But if you had one already, it's account bound, you can't sell it. Even if you never used it. I have 2, and I have never used the 1, strange. And I can't sell it ever.
I thought it was interesting that they took out 1 copper was one of the drops.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Are you freaking serious? And they also said, this is my favorite part, made it so that the chance to get a mini is rarer. I didn't even know you could get minis in Black Lion chests. I've never gotten a mini out of a Black Lion chest. What are you talking about?
You can get the Scarlet and Cave, mini Scarlet.
Oh, is that what? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they meant just like normal minis, and I'm like,
no, I can tell you from buying chests when those were before this update, like I would say about 60% of the time you would get one of them in it, and they're supposed to be rare. But they removed Karma boosters, Glory boosters, Heavy Bag of Coins, Name Change Contract, Small Guild Discovery, Medium Guild Discovery, and 1 copper, and added in Instant Trait Reset, which coming soon, this will be the only place you can get those. Communal Boost Bonfires, 2 more crappy ones to take up stuff you don't want. Essence of Luck 50 and Essence of Luck 100. Who wants that out of a Black Lion chest?
Me. I'll get it.
Right?
I'll get it, don't worry.
Metabolic Primer, which, if you don't know, you eat that, and then any food you eat after it lasts 12 hours instead of an hour or half an hour. Scroll of Knowledge, which was never in there before, which is just the scroll that gives you a skill point, which again is something that I don't think needs to be in there and is taking up slots for valuable items.
Yeah.
The World Experience Boosters, which is cool that they put those in there, and Gathering Boosters, like I mentioned before. So I can say that in buying, like I bought 25 keys, which economically is the best way to go about it because you end up spending more if you buy them in less amounts. And I got some really crappy chests, but then I got some pretty good ones, you know, that gave me like the books that level you up a level, and then like I got like a die pack and a mini pack number 2, you know, out of there.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're gonna be disappointed most likely if you buy like one key, because it could be the worst experience ever. I'm not saying it won't be great. It could be.
Yeah.
But just know that going in, that to get a good chance of getting something you want, buy at least 10 or more.
And I think that's my problem, is that I usually buy them in chunks of 1 or 2, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try these Black Lion chests again and see what I get. And it's like, here's some mystery tonics and some karma boosters, and maybe you'll get a die, and oh, look, it's a blue die.
Yeah,
cool. That was totally worth me spending real money for.
Shepard just said, just bought a key. First one, he got 1 booster and 3 mystery tonics. So that's 1 booster, 2 mystery tonics, and then 1 mystery tonic. That's a chest.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Second key, a transmutation crystal and a self-style hair kit.
That's much better.
You know what I mean? Like, really, buying in bulk, as it were, is the best way to guarantee you're going to get something. And I can say, in knowing pretty good about the drop rates on things out of Black Lion chests, it seems like if you buy a bigger amount, the chances of you getting the rarer things does seem to be increased, because I was getting a lot of things that I hadn't seen. Like, in 25 chests, I got a hairstyle kit and a makeover kit. And then, like, you know, a bunch of crappy, like, 15 unidentified dyes that I didn't want, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's about it for the patch. Not much else. A couple of bug fixes here and there. But all in all, story, not a lot in there, but what was a step in the right direction, if anything. Bosses, some are ridiculous, some are well done. You know what? We got 3 more of this arc to see what they can do before they figure out what they're going to do going forward. So
it's just going to be some more map cooperation world bosses crap.
Maybe.
I want
for another optimism moment.
I want instant missions. No, well, but I understand that a lot of people like that. You know, I don't enjoy that, but that's 5% of the population. Don't count.
I mean, like I said, the stuff that they did is taking it. It's different. It's a step in the right direction. Do they need to do more, you know, different things? Yes, I would say new things would be, you know, keeping this kind of, give us more of like the instance that we have, but maybe break it up. You know, like if it was, we went and talked to that scholar and then we heard the Bram and Rock story there in Lion's Arch. And then she was like, oh, Bram left. He's probably going back to Holbrag. You should go check with him. And then, like, that chick, the Sir chick was there. You know what I mean? And, like, you had to move around so it was broken up, not just dump exposition on you all at once. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or, you know, we do a little bit of a fighting thing, and then we come back and have more story. So, same amount, if not more story, just presented better.
Mm.
That's what I said.
I mean, like I've said before, this is still all new stuff for them. They're still figuring it out. They're definitely getting better at what they're doing. So they're still making mistakes in some things, but I think overall, I feel like they're getting better. And so it definitely makes me look forward to what's coming after the Scarlet thing, because the next story we get is going to have all that experience of the Scarlet stuff behind it. So it's probably going to be awesome, because they'll have all these things to build off of that they learned doing Scarlet. So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
next week we'll hopefully have a preview of the following patch if they still stick with the 2-week release schedule. So we'll be talking about that.
Word.
So I guess for Chronicles of Tyria episode number 80, I am Lagwyn.
I'm Boons.
And I'm Naveen.
And so committed.
I am committed.
And we'll see you next time. Stay boony, too. This is why I need guitar rock.
I want drums. Did I play drums?
Look at this. Enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did we actually have one?
Yeah.
What did you